Mark Strong,
Here.
Heidi Nightingale,
Present.
Lane Daly,
Here.
Stephanie DeVito,
Here.
Brian Muldrow,
Here.
Jonathan Anderson.
Present. Please stand up. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of prayer. At this time, I'd like to offer our sincere condolences to the family and friends of Jerry Sensabaugh, former county legislator. Jerry was a legislator from 1987 to 1993. He was chairman of Judicial Committee. He was a big part of saving the Falcone Park baseball program. Please keep his family in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you. You may be seated.
Jonathan, I'd just like to mention, I served with Jerry Secor during that time, this body, and he was an extremely good legislator and fought for his people in his district. And I just wanted everybody to know that how hard he worked to make Cayuga County what it is. Thank you.
We have a public hearing this evening. Our phone number for the public hearing is 315-294-8051. If you wish to speak on the public hearing is pursuant to General Municipal Law 6B to make appropriations from the Emerson Park Pavilion Repair Reserve, complete reserves to the Emerson Park Pavilion. Periodically during the meeting, I'll ask if anyone has any comments for the public hearing. Again, the phone number is 315-294-8051 if you'd like to call in. Is there anyone present this evening who'd like to speak on behalf of the public hearing? Okay, we'll continue. We had some proclamations this month. Larry Diger celebrated 60 years of fire service, and he also retired as a Cayuga County Fire Coordinator. The town clerk of Sterling retired after 29 years of service to the town of Sterling. And I have a presentation this evening regarding the National Nutrition Month in Cayuga County. And I'd like to invite Dr. Archer from the Health Department to come up and accept the award, and she has a few comments. So this one is the proclamation for the National Nutrition Month. Whereas food is essential to everyone's overall health and well-being, learning and understanding the benefits of food is imperative to a healthy community. Whereas the Cayuga County Health Department's Women, Infants, and Children's Supplemental Nutritional Program provides premier nutrition, education, breastfeeding support, nutritious food packages, and referrals to other services for eligible participants with the goal of improving the health of pregnant children in Cayuga County. Was that me? Whereas the WIC program provides services to eligible pregnant breastfeeding moms, babies, moms with younger children, younger than 6 months, as well as infants and children who are younger than 5 years old, including foster children living with caretakers such as dads, grandparents, and other family members. Whereas local farmers benefit from the WIC program by providing fresh, locally grown produce for WIC. Participants, the families, the Farmers Market Nutritional Program, FMNP, which allows eligible WIC participants to purchase fruits and vegetables directly from farmers. Whereas the Cayuga County Health Department WIC program has been providing nutrition, education support, lifestyle changes, and assisting families for over 50 years. Now therefore be resolved that I, Jonathan Anna, Chair of the Cayuga County Legislature, and fellow legislators do hereby proclaim the month of March as a National Nutrition Month in Cayuga County. And I encourage all citizens to prioritize nutrition and the nutrition of others in the hope of achieving optimum health for our current and future generations of Cayuga County residents.
On behalf of our WIC team, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the legislator for this proclamation. Our WIC staff works tirelessly to improve the health of our most vulnerable and important members of our community, our mothers and children. The Cayuga County Health Department is privileged to administer this fully grant-funded program to benefit our county. The WIC program plays a vital role in supporting low-income mothers and young children who are nutritionally at risk. As we celebrate National Nutrition Month, we remain committed to providing nutrition education, breastfeeding support, and access to healthy foods for eligible families in Cayuga County. Thank you again for recognizing the importance of nutrition and the impact of the WIC program on our community's health and well-being.
There's several presentations this evening. I'd like to start, Dan Welch in 4-H. They'd like to come up.
Good evening, everyone. I know on the agenda it has my name on there, but I'm actually not going to be doing most of the speaking tonight. I have with me Everett Cox. Everett is a junior at Cato Meridian School. He's active in our 4-H program and the FFA chapter there. And he was featured as part of the State Commissioner of Ag and Markets, New York State of Agriculture speech earlier this year. So I want to give him an opportunity for all of you to hear what Everett had to say about his experiences in 4-H.
Thank you, Dan. I'd like to thank Dan for reaching out to me with this opportunity. It's a pleasure to share my story with the county legislator. Good evening. My name is Everett Cox. I'm the son of Slade and Kristen Cox, and I live and work at Oxcart Dairy in Cato, New York. I'm a junior at Cato Meridian Central School, a member of the New York State Pro Dairy Junior Dairy Leader Program and Cayuga County Dairy Ambassador Program. I currently serve as Chapter FFA Secretary and 4-H Club President. I'm a basketball player, a long-distance runner, proud member of the Cato Meridian Drama Club, and owner of 2 herding dogs who I'm currently working to herd sheep. Growing up on a first-generation dairy farm, dairy industry has a significant influence in shaping the person I am today. When my parents founded Oxcart Dairy in 2001, they decided to quit their nice, stable jobs and never be bored again. With 80 cows and a lot of ambition, they set out to play their part in feeding the world. Since then, they've expanded to milking just over 400 head and being able to support a family. As I grew up, my parents diligently shared their love of dairy with my siblings and I, and looked for opportunities to continue our education. So they turned to 4-H, a program that they were familiar with from their childhood. Little did they know, this would turn into an essential part of all of our lives. We all learn to show dairy cattle. We may not always win, but the primary value is in the experience and the bond we foster between members. The work that is required to learn how to raise and prepare dairy cattle to be shown is huge. There are bad moments, as there is with everything, but those inferior times can bring about experiences that will live with you forever. I'd like to share the story about these 2 girls in my 4-H group. One who I'd seen grow from a little kid into a hard-working, determined individual. And when she was old enough, I introduced her to 4-H. The other girl had been a friend of mine through FFA, and I'd been encouraging her to join our 4-H group. Both these girls had been working with these admittedly stubborn, difficult calves through washings, clippings, early mornings, and food scoops. One of the most meaningful experiences I've ever had was watching my 2 friends, both of whom I'd encouraged to join in 4-H, taught how to show and work extremely hard to become successful and compete side by side with me and some of the best competitors in the state in the Master Showman class. It made me think about how these girls wouldn't have had the opportunity to discover an industry that they would end up loving without 4-H and dairy. 4-H program has helped inspire countless people to pursue dairy and other areas of agriculture, and these 4-Hers will be the leaders of our future. The impact of 4-H will continue to echo in many generations to come. Much like the girls in my 4-H group, more and more kids continue to fall in love with dairy and agriculture as a result of 4-H programs. It is vital that we keep new generations involved not only in dairy, but in agriculture as a whole through programs such as 4-H so that we may grow as a united community. So as the demand for resources increase, it is crucial that we use it to sustain our agricultural programs with things like the county fairground and a strong 4-H program. Through history, dairy has been instrumental in science and nutrition communities, as is evident by the discovery of pasteurization in 1860, use of dairy as a vital source of the 13 essential nutrients, and the world-class agriculture and dairy programs at our land-grant institution, Cornell University. Currently, I'm participating in leadership training with a group of kids I would have otherwise never known through Cornell's Junior Dairy Leader Program. During this experience, I'm able to learn from all sorts of people and to gain an understanding of different perspectives. I attended the National 4-H Dairy Conference and toured farms across New York and Wisconsin. From my peers to experienced professionals across the industry, I'm learning about how dairy has impacted them, whether it be giving them jobs, providing networking opportunities, or family bonding. Through the Dairy Ambassador Program, I see how even people who aren't directly involved with dairy know that is important to have in your life. You should see the swarm of people that come around a table with chocolate milk after a charity 5K. And through 4-H, I see how people support each other through thick and through thin. As I look back at my experiences and all the things that I love, and what all the producers in the 5th largest dairy production state in the US love about the dairy community, I look to the future. I have hopes of pursuing a degree in animal science so I may expand my knowledge of the dairy world, agriculture, and beyond. I look forward to future generations whom I hope to inspire in the same way to keep the industry going. Thank you.
Thank you, Everett. That was great. For those that don't know, Everett's a member of my district, in Ira. It's a great area, and just thank you so much. And I'm proud to have you guys here today. That's great. Also, as Everett said, we're the number 5 dairy producing state in the country. In New York State, we're the number 1 dairy producing county in New York State. And for those that probably know that, number 2, we're the number 2 producer for sheep, wool, and goats, which is something I learned this past year. So we have a great farming heritage here and a great farming future in Cayuga County. Any other legislators? All right, if no other comments, we have another. I'd like to invite Brenda Wyman. She has a presentation saving with Office of the Agent.
That's not bad to follow. So, thank you for giving us the opportunity to present tonight. I'm Brenda Wyman, I'm Director of the Office for the Aging. I have with me Nicole Sidoris, and she's an Aging Service Coordinator with our office. She oversees the New York Connects information assistance options counseling, our intake and options counseling program. And then she also oversees the health insurance information counseling and assistance program, also known as HICAP. And the HICAP program is what we're going to talk about tonight. I have brought this program up with legislators in the past. We've talked about some of the challenges of this program, but I wanted to take this opportunity tonight to give you a little bit more of a presentation on what it's all about. I think some of our programs, such as our Meals on Wheels or our it can be easy to conceptualize. But the health insurance counseling program is a little more difficult to understand exactly what it's about. So we thought we'd just give you a little more information and a very brief demonstration tonight. So let's go to the next slide. So the next slide is just going to show the 3 components of what we do and what I do in our program. I use the we, the director, but I also use the we because I also started out, or one of my roles with the Office of the Aging before being director was Nicole's role as HICAP coordinator. So definitely some we going on in this discussion. But the initial group education is our Medicare 101 classes. We do have those monthly. We go over the alphabet soup of Medicare, A, B, C, D. We go over some of the assistance programs that are available in a group setting. They hold the classes at the Boyle Center, and they're 2-hour sessions monthly. We do individual consultations for those who are looking for more confidential one-on-one assistance after those presentations. And those individuals typically will come into the office and meet with one of our insurance counselors specifically. We'll help with enrollment and we'll help with benefits eligibility if they're eligible for some assistance to help meet some of the expenses. And then our third big component is the Medicare annual enrollment that happens every year from October to December. Because of changes that have happened in the Medicare program since 2006, a lot more changes every year with the insurance. So even if somebody goes on Medicare and makes a selection when they turn 65, depending on their choices and depending on what happens with their insurance, it's very likely that they're going to be looking at the need to change from year to year. So the Medicare 101 classes are kind of the introduction when somebody turns 65 is going to be turning 65. We encourage them to start with the Medicare 101 class, the group session. where we can go over all the basics. It's a 2-hour class, so the basics are a lot. People come out with their heads sort of swimming, but we give them a lot of handouts and materials. We do recommend this class, especially for people who will not have retiree insurance or have ongoing employer insurance. So the next slides will show some of the handouts that. It's a little hard to see, I think, on the screen, but Nicole is showing the paper copy of the Medicare supplements. So Medicare supplements are what goes along with traditional Medicare A and B. The supplements have probably been around as long as Medicare A and B. Everybody who's turned 65 is typically eligible for A and B, but A and B leaves some out-of-pocket expenses, some copays and deductibles and such. The Medicare supplements pick up those copays and deductibles. And depending on what you want to pay and which plan you pick, it picks up some or all of them. What's nice about these is they're very consistent. They're labeled plan A through N. And no matter which company you buy a plan from, the coverage is exactly the same for an A plan, exactly the same for a B plan and C plan. So it makes it very easy to compare, and they also never change. Once you've enrolled in one of those plans, you have it for as long as you keep paying your premium, you have that coverage. These are the Part B plans. So these are the newer plans. These are what came about around 2006, and really we started seeing a lot of it in our county about that time, and then actually the Medicare Advantage, which is in the next slide, but in about 2010, 2012. So these are the prescription plans that people who have Medicare are encouraged to enroll in. So they'll have some prescription coverage. These differ from state to state, and these do change every year. Next slide. So the green sheet, we refer to these by their color names in part because when we say Medicare Supplement, Medicare Advantage, and Medicare Part D, we lost people. So sometimes it's easier to put these things on colored sheets until people become more familiar with them, so they know what we're referencing. This green sheet in 2012 had 15 plans on it. The first time I made it in 2012, we were becoming overwhelmed with the number of Medicare Advantage plans, and it was making it very difficult to compare because every Medicare Advantage plan is different. So Humana might have 4 plans, Blue Cross might have 5 plans, United Healthcare might have 3 plans, and every single plan is different, and every single plan changes every year. So I created the green sheet so we could do a little bit of a comparison from plan to plan. That green sheet now, when Nicole does it, has 26 plans and covers 2 sides of the page. So it's not gotten any simpler, it's doubled how much harder it's gotten to utilize these plans. So the goal was to give people options when all these different plans were introduced, but it has made it definitely more complicated. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Nicole so she can give an example of what she does after the Medicare 101 class with people.
Okay, so this is what we call a high cap tool. Basically in my class, I give out a folder. Everyone takes home their color sheets. Like Brenda said, about halfway through the 2 hours of my voice, they're all kind of glazed over eyes. And a lot of times, I have time for questions and answers, but they're going to be general questions because a lot of times people aren't going to want to discuss their personal finances, their medical conditions, the medications that they're on. So we encourage them to come back in for a one-on-one with myself or the 2 other staff that do Medicare counseling. So this front of the paper is important. It's going to be their name, address, confirming that they live in Cayuga County is huge because a lot of times they call from Onondaga and say, but you're so close to our, Skinny Atlas address. Can't we just come in the county? So we do address to make sure they're Cayuga County. And then on the bottom of the page is, it's optional, but we ask for their income. So I have to say it's not to pry what your income is, but depending on what you're going to see at the, office appointment, you might be looking to get some savings on some of your drug plans or other coverage. So we ask for the income so we can screen for all those programs. And then the second page is where they can put their drug lists. I didn't bring one in person, but it's several lines for medications. More and more are coming in with 2 of those sheets, if not more, because their meds are no longer just 1 or 2 meds, it's a whole page. So I'll share my thing.
I have to stop sharing.
But you'll see that I am just gonna do a few plans. Send that on my desk. And push the button.
This worked perfectly when we tried
I
it the other
know.
night.
Let's see what I'm looking for. Okay, phew, just kidding. Okay, so this is Medicare.gov. One of the things that I say over and over in my class is that we are not salesmen. Our office is biased. So, you know, the spreadsheet is 2 pages because we don't work for any licensed insurance company. So we are certified insurance counselors through ICAP, which is through New York State Office for the Aging. So we do, I think we figured out the other day, 65 roughly hours of just training a year, just kind of be coordinated with what plans are out there. So this is a free open website. And when someone comes into the office, again, I've already had the paper that says, you know, what their income is. They have their medications hopefully with them. We go in and up some meds. I can never pronounce half these names, so it usually lightens the mood when we're trying to explain what the medications are. Oftentimes, we may or may not discuss even what they are used for, because again, you know, I claim I'm not a nurse or doctor. We just want to see what the price is. And some medications can be kind of sensitive subjects, so I put them all on.
When we're doing this, we're hoping somebody has given us good information on their prescriptions, because sometimes they'll just give us a name and not a dosage, not how frequently, and to do a complete informative discussion with them, I really need as much information as possible.
So this one is going to be, I put this on, this is actually one of my clients' medications that came in earlier in the fall for open enrollment. And so Victoza is an insulin. And I use it because it did just say, do you want the generic or the name brand? There are generic medications now for insulins. They are equally not usually as covered as the name brand. So for this person, they said, nope, I really need to take the Victoza. That's what my doctor prescribed me. And again, I'm not a doctor, so I say, I don't know what you might want to get in place of it, but if it's not covered, sometimes you go back to your provider and see what happens. So this is, there are 12 plans available in Cayuga County. So in order of cheapest on down is what these medications are going to come up as. So the ARP Medicare RX preferred from United Healthcare. Again, I do not work for United Healthcare, but that is the one that's cheapest. So if anyone can see those numbers, I don't usually have a poker face and I say I'd be falling on the ground if I was you, sir or ma'am, but we're gonna get through this. The plan's $113 a month. That's just the premium. And we're gonna go in and investigate more, but the medications would cost this person $12,000 for the year. I know that's not accurate because I've been doing it for a while. The thing that's key is, you know, figuring out what we can do to problem solve. There is no drug deductible, which that's a positive. I go into the plan details. And the reason why it's not cost effective is because, again, that Victoza is not covered. So this person might be able to go back to their doctor and get a prior authorization for this medication to be covered. They might also have to just see if there's another medication out there that is similar There are several insulins, all do a little bit different for the individual. So this person I've been working with for a while, so he really didn't hit the floor when these numbers came out. But when someone's coming in right after the initial 2-hour visit, they're brand new to Medicare, and I show them that their med that they've been prescribed and it works great for them for the last 5 years is now $10,000 out of pocket because the plan doesn't cover it. So that's usually a little bit of extra time that it takes. You are able to do, I already kind of went through and put the pharmacies, but you can price shop pharmacies. So Kenny's is in-network, Wegmans is preferred. So that would be a little bit of a price savings. We can go down and kind of look at that. Overall, the person for this situation, I'm gonna conclude that, but I looked at all 12 plans. It gets worse as you go down because more than just the one coverage affecting the Victoza, it's still on there for the other 12. And then more medications as you go down are kind of messy. So, but you can look at overall, you know, I have atorvastatin, it's generic, $5 out of pocket at the pharmacy. Eliquis, brand name, $47. I can't pronounce Tadalafil, $12. Victoza really is, you know, a $1,100 medication. That's the one they're gonna go back and get hopefully fixed. Depending on the time frame, if they come to us within the first 3 months before their Medicare starts, that's ideal, because then they can go back to the doctor. I print out the form and say, here, show them the price and show them the medication. And if they can fix it, they can come back in and we'll get them situated. Another thing that we go over is, while we're in the appointment, I screen them for income. And if their income is low enough, we would do the Medicare Savings Program kind of option. So this is already done, same exact plan. Instead of $113, it could be $47 for them. So that's the Medicare Savings Program that discounts the premiums. And then Victoza still is not covered, so we still would have to get that figured out. But the medications, instead of being $5, $47, and 45. What happens? 5, 10, and 45 or 47. They can be $4.90 for a generic and $12.15 for a name brand. So once the Victoza is fixed, either they've gone on something that's approved, the prior authorization comes through with the provider, you know, their medications can be half the price of what they were. So that's really just all in a visit. Someone that has easy meds, it might take 15, 20 minutes to kind of do that spiel. This last fall, when we were overwhelmed already with networks and other things, it can take an hour to 2 hours just to get through all the meds and then try and go back and forth with the plans and see what's gonna cover the best, and kind of what they can afford and what their network is gonna work with.
And you're talking about just the Part D plan, so you're not
Yeah.
even evaluating the 26 Medicare Advantage plans if somebody prefers one of those.
Yeah.
That's drugs and health coverage that she's comparing for people trying to figure out which one's gonna be the best option for the individuals. And it's got more complicated because these plans are offering benefit cards where you can get a certain number of supplies each month from the pharmacy.
I'll say that, you go back to that. All right.
Couple more slides, I think, Amanda. Okay. And going through benefit cards, grocery cards, what are some of the other freebies that will come up? And but they change every year. So it could be made more and more challenging. And so the last couple slides, I think the next one, Nicole was talking about.
Yeah, so that's the extra help program, the Medicare savings. Those are the numbers that we're working with the individuals, screening them for the programs that would discount medications and their Part B premiums. That's what we also use, the high cap staff, while we're doing benefit eligibility for their Medicare. This is also what we use office wide. So for the most part, we're cross trained. So the New Year Connects is gonna look at that. It's like our desk guide. So when anyone calls, the first thing we ask for, is the income because they might be eligible for food stamps or heating assistance. And if they're taking money from their, grocery bill and can add it to their prescription bill, kind of move money around. So we try and go through that. Medicaid, sometimes we offer and discuss different tax forms and, talk to the assessor's office and try to get extra funding wherever they can.
So it really is a quite different program than somebody just going to an insurance agent or a broker. It really is very comprehensive. Obviously, I think that we're often working with folks who do have somewhat limited means, not necessarily eligible for Medicaid, kind of just average Joe who isn't, flush and able to purchase whatever they want. They're looking for some guidance and some assistance to get the best value. So these last two slides are just showing kind of what I've been talking about in our various health and human services meetings is that the demand for this program is going way up. As Nicole said, the time we're spending with people has gone way up. This is just in the past years. On the left is the annual increase over 12 months. And then the October through December, we really got slammed this past year and weren't really even able to serve everybody ourselves here in our county. Had to refer people to the state, which is the last thing we want to do because some of these plans are local specific. But the demand was just really a lot this past year. So, it's the challenge of what to do ongoing to meet this huge increased need. Of course, we're not getting any extra funding for doing this work. We have one full-time person, Nicole, and three part-time people who are trying to meet the need. So I just conclude, my final slide is that we're just trying to figure out how to move forward and meet the needs. There is a huge amount of training required, a huge amount of learning curve. I haven't done the program since 2016, but I did it for years. And when I tried to step in and now and do it, I'm constantly going to Nicole about, what about this, what about this? And there's a lot of minefields that, it's important stuff. People being able to take their medications and you want to make sure it's right. A lot of nuances and things to understand. So getting a volunteer to do it is very challenging. And even bringing somebody in seasonally can be challenging because they have a lot to learn in a short amount of time. But we're looking at options and, I'll probably come to you at some point and talk more about what we're hoping to do going forward. But I hope that helped give a little bit better idea of what we're doing in the HICAP program and especially working with people on their medication and health insurance choices. Any questions?
Any questions from legislators?
Thank you.
Thank you. I lost it, Mr. Carpenter's not here. Good evening. I'm John LaGorga from MRD Group. We were hired by the Cayuga County Water and Sewer Authority end of the year 2024 to complete a study and a preliminary design for a project known as the Cayuga Lake Protection Project. Since the beginning of this year, we've defined the district, we're calling it, for this protection project. We've started to create a map, a plan, and a report. I'll go into a little bit more detail about what that report looks like. We've begun to coordinate with Aurora wastewater treatment plant to set sewage in this sewage collection project, the lake protection project. And we've also met with the town boards of Genoa and Legislature where these projects were. This project. So the sewer district encompasses the town of Ledyard and the town of Genoa. It basically runs from the village of Aurora down the east side of Cayuga Lake down to the Tompkins County line. And there are about 450 properties along that stretch of lake. The district, when and if formed in the future, would be a county district. And to form a county district, there does need to be a map, plan, and report.
And again, that's what we've been hired to do. The map planning report lays out this new sewer system, both in size and quantity, and we put a cost to it. And we will also develop preliminary drawings to show where everything is located and all the bits and pieces of this. Ultimately, the legislature will need to approve this map planning report and move into sewer district formation. And as I said, the map planning report will define the cost. It will be up to the legislature to move forward with actually implementing the district or truly creating the district. And it's going to likely be driven on cost. What we can do with the map planning report is put it forward to the state for funding. So certainly if there's a fair amount of funding, I think that it makes the project more palatable to the residents and to the all costs will be borne, paid for by the residents. And yeah, and the county may or may not recommend it based on the cost. To form a district, there may or may not be the need for a vote by the residents of the district. There is something called a permissive referendum where the county could just simply create the district. But that would allow the residents to have a petition and say, do you want it? Or the county could do a mandatory referendum. It just goes out. Interesting that to be able to vote, a resident would need to own property in this district and be a county resident registered to vote. And I will say that we've had some communications with residents and with the towns, and they think that's unfair, right? They do think that residents who are affected by this potential project all should have a vote. But currently the law is owning property in the district and voting registered voter in the county. It would need a special election. And we suspect that the engineering part of the project, the report and the preliminary design can be done this year in preparation of vote in 2026. Yeah, if the county is ready for such a vote. And we're willing to, or we're happy to and want to continue to attend these meetings, provide updates as we develop costs and develop plans to share as much information with you. And we plan to do the same with the town, budget and town as well. Thank you for your time. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I just have a question. Having the map and plan done for the district will enhance the grant application. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And is that the same that is having the county approve the formation of the district, or that's not as necessary as having this much work done when you go to get funding?
Having the map planning report is critical to getting grant funding. Having the district formed doesn't necessarily.
Okay. And that's why you're moving forward to get this done, so that the grant that you apply for, you have a better chance of getting awarded.
Yes, and we as MRB and the authority, we've had some now preliminary conversations with the authorities attorney. And I do think we should roll in county attorney of the steps to forming and what I'm calling implementing the district. The county may be able to form the district and vote on it, have the residents on it, but then actually not actually build it, right? Because the cost would be too high, right? So we did, and again, that's not confirmed, but we need to make sure we understand the legal steps in doing it. It would be, in my opinion, it would be nice to be able to form it on paper, and then seek the money needed to build it, and when that money comes, then build it.
And if you don't have enough people wanting to be customers, then that makes it cost prohibitive too.
We think so. And we haven't the dollars finalized yet, but it's likely on face value too expensive for this.
That's why the more money, grant money you get, the more reasonable it is for people to hook into. Okay.
Any other legislators? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your time.
Before we move on to privilege of the floor, I just want to remind everyone, if you have a public hearing, the number is 315-294-8059. That's 315-294-8051. If you wish to speak on the public hearing, pursuant to New York General Municipal Law 16, appropriations of Emerson Park Pavilion repair, reserved to complete repairs to Emerson Park Pavilion. At this time, do we have any legislators who are anyone for privilege of the floor? Anyone present who'd like privilege of the floor? Come up here, state your name and where you're from, and you have 3 minutes.
Carl Reinfleisch with the Cayuga County Water and Sewer Authority. Just a reminder to the members of the legislature, the next Friday, April 4th, we have a tour leaving the county water and soil building at 9 o'clock. And we would greatly appreciate any member of the legislature that have the time, who could spend the time coming along with us to tour this Cayuga Lake Protection Plan area. I think it'd be quite informative for everyone to see just where we're looking to build this and what's going to be entailed in it. And the only caveat I have is, if possible, I'd like to have a head count by this Friday afternoon. You can contact me at the Water Authority and call the office and one of the staff know. This can facilitate transportation.
Let me know as well. And you stole my thunder, Carl. I had it all.
I'm sorry.
For you.
I got the merge.
I will be going. Yeah.
April 4th, we're going to be leaving the county water and soil conference about 9 o'clock in the morning. I expect we'll be back sometime around 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Down one, Carl. I'm gonna hold you to it.
All right, 1 o'clock. Old time.
What's the mode of transportation?
Well,
Van?
Well,
Sheriff's gonna
Pardon?
how many of you have big cars?
Oh, yeah, okay.
No, I think we'll run a van
Oh,
or see if we can facilitate a van, depending on the number of people we have involved.
Thank you, Carl.
Thanks.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
Anyone else for privilege of the floor? All right, we have our minutes from February 27th to approve. Can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Move them, please.
Second.
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You see the list of appointments and appointments from today at the end of the meeting. Dr. Durant is not available today. Do I have any committee or individual legislator reports?
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
At this time, I'd like to express my concern regarding the current Democratic caucus. Current state of affairs within our county and within the management of our county operations over the last 85 or so days is a direct result of our leadership. Much of the items that have come before this body have been hatched within the Democratic caucus. I have not attended any of these caucuses, nor have a few of the other members of this legislature. So it's very clear members of the legislature who are bringing these ideas. I have opposed and spoken out against and have offered alternatives to no avail. In summary, why I'm making the statement at this time is for public optics. Publicly, I would like to announce that I choose not to be a member of either political caucus within this legislature. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Mr. Strong.
Just a shout out to the boys varsity basketball team. They reached the state Final Four. Unfortunately, they were eliminated in the first round of Final Four competition. But they did finish state or Section 4 small school champs, and they've achieved that 3 years in a row. So congratulations to them.
Congratulations to them. Anyone else?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
that's a good shout out to them. They're doing well.
Yeah. That's their.
I wanted to follow up on Legislator Vitale's comments. I too will be, leaving the Democrat caucus officially. Been on this legislature now, this is the beginning of my 10th year, and there have been times that the caucus structure is very successful. I think that had to do with the number of people that we were dealing with on the legislature. Felt like it served as a very important vehicle. I do feel like in the past few years, think that it has not served its purpose. And I find that it's sometimes burdensome, well, very challenging. And I think that I just want to offer publicly that I too will be leaving the caucus this year and making my own decision.
Thank you. Anyone else?
If I can what?
I just wanted to let everybody know that this is the 50th year of the Office of Aging, and there will be celebrations that happen throughout the year. Sort of keep September on the back burner for the major senior fair that happens out at Finger Lakes Mall. Letting you know that CCC is beginning to undergo its middle states accreditation. So that will be important, and I'm sure Dr. Durant and myself will keep you up to date. I would also like to express similar concerns about the Democratic caucus. And I don't need to repeat the concerns. They've been the ones you've heard from legislator Coleman McNabb and Vitale, and I no longer will be caucusing with any caucus.
Mr. Vito.
I'm just going to follow suit, just as everyone mentioned here. I will also not be caucusing as well with the Democratic Party.
You know, I'm shocked. Okay, look, I'm shocked. And I'm going to tell you straight up, I'm shocked. And I'm going to be very transparent. None of them showed up to any of the meetings. We've done this alone. We've worked with it. You know what the beauty of this is? I'm glad both caucuses just put up. Because what it did is it forced us all to work together. It forced us to call each other, regardless if we had different opinions. But I want everybody to remember that the Democratic Party elected you. You won a primary, possibly if you had a primary, and you won the election to beat your opponent if you had an opponent. I think it's insulting. It's insulting that when for many years, for the last couple of years I was here, when the people that were part of this caucus were the most vocal and made a lot of decisions and didn't include everybody else, including the Democratic Party caucus. And then when it all, now that nobody's in power anymore, everybody wants to run off and leave. So I'll tell you what, whoever wants to meet with me, Democrat, Republican, I voted Democrat and I voted with Republicans. In the whole scheme of thing, none of it matters locally. Because what I think people get riled up is national politics, and none of it affects us. We're talking about budgeting locally. We're talking about making decisions locally that affect us all. And I've reached out to Bob Shea, if he's here. Is Bob here? Bob's not here? There he is, right in front of me. Right. I reached out to Mark, I've talked to Tom, me and Hans. We don't talk that much, but it's not just because we have it. And we've gotten things done. I'm not ashamed to say I'm a Democrat. I mean, it's easy to attack Democrats because Democrats don't fight back. But this one, better leave me alone because I will fight back. Okay. And I'm saying that at the legislative meeting, I will always voice my opinion, and I will always vote for what I think is right by the county. I think it's cowardly to have somebody vote you into office and then you say you're not part of it because it got a little tough. You didn't even show up to the meetings. You didn't show up to the meetings. And you know what? I want to give a compliment. I want to end this with a compliment. I want to compliment Mark Strong because Mark will listen. And you know what? I found out me and Mark had a meeting one time at the sheriff's office, And I found out we have a lot more similarities than differences. I want to shout out John Anna, because John, I think that you came in an almost impossible situation and united us. And I also want to shout out Elaine Daly, because no matter what, she still tried to have a caucus when nobody showed up. Nobody even responded. Sometimes I would be the only one responding to her. So that being said, so be it.
I don't know why the public outrage of, I'm not going to be part of this.
Yeah, you didn't say it public, you never showed up.
Right, other than Heidi, there has been no participation in the Democratic caucus ever.
And I hope these Democrats remember this too, when they go to vote.
Can I clarify something? We're not leaving the Democratic Party.
But you embarrassed us. Everybody's seen it,
No, no.
Elaine. You go to the full-fledged meeting, you make a
No, no, I
statement
just
like
wanted
this.
to- What I'm saying to you is I agree with what you said. I too have called other legislators. I too have talked to Mark.
No, you don't.
I just talked to Mark yesterday.
Okay, good. You called it what you talking about. Okay, I'm not, no, when I said, no, you don't, I thought you were talking about me at the time.
I talk to Jonathan often as well, and I think the idea of,
Isn't that a caucus though?
no, I just talked to him. I just
Oh.
talked, I met with him, he calls me, I call him, I've called other legislators as well. I think that he gets put a lot of like stress on the organization of it. And like I said, I've seen it in the past work very well, and I think it had to do with the size of the legislature. Now it's not working as well. And at this point, I'm in my last term, I represent my district. I'm doing everything I can to move this county forward. I will never stop that. But I can do that independently. And so I can be independent and do that.
Well, you have been doing that.
And I think it's
Thank you for that.
very, just to let you know that this is not a slam on the Democrat.
You come to the, let's,
Just me choosing to say, take the pressure off, let the air out of the balloon and just let people, educate themselves and come to the meetings.
Anyway.
that being said, I appreciate that. I'm sure that everybody does call each other and they do have these conversations. But to me, to come to this platform, to make a statement like that is insulting. It's insulting. And there was a little bit of there wasn't hardly any participation. But you know what? I don't believe in caucuses anyway. So this is probably a good thing, because at the end of the day,
Agreed.
it forces us to work together. And I think, that, one of the things that Jonathan says constantly is that, it's up to the legislative body. It's not about him. And I compliment him privately and I'm complimenting him publicly. Let's get it done. We got a lot of stuff ahead of us. We got a lot of challenges. And we're gonna bring this up at this meeting in front of the newspaper and a crowd of people. You could have just not showed up like you've been not showing up. I don't know what's going on. So let's move on, because I don't really want to, I'm moving on myself.
I just want to clarify too. Not to go backwards, because I don't want to go backwards, but half of last year, it's not a functional mode of communication. So that has continued, and that's why it's not because of this year, it's not because of the change. Whatever. As chair last year, I worked a lot with the Republican caucus and I met with them regularly. I had a tougher time meeting with our caucus.
I feel exactly the same.
And that is why I feel like at this point, take the pressure off.
Yep.
Everybody work together.
Yeah, that would have been nice to say that, but it almost is, the way I felt it was delivered like we were broken. And let me tell you, a lot of times I found out when we were working together, a lot of the information I found out came from the citizen. I've opened up the citizen and I get phone calls. So right now, I thought it was inappropriate what you guys did, but it is what it is. I'm ready to move on.
Anybody else? All right, with that said, let's move on. I'm gonna speak to the entire election real quick. And I just sketched this out as we track here. We need to find ways to work together. The job facing this county is too important and too large for us to fight. I ran for office because as an independent, not because I didn't believe in one side or the other. It's because I believe that Republican Democrats don't really matter in local government. And right now, we have a job to do. It's not a Republican job. It's not a Democrat job. It's the people's job. And we have a job to do. We are elected to do a job. And at the end of the day, I don't care if we caucus with Republicans, caucus with Democrats, caucus or not caucus. We have a job to do and we have to find ways to work together or this body will get nothing done. And you know who suffers? Not us. The people that elected us and brought us here suffer. End of the day, I don't really care about the rhetoric. We need to find ways to get the job done. We have a building project coming forward. We have people moving from one location to another. We have staff that rely on us to do a job. And I ran for office to do a job, not to fight.
Yeah, I know.
And at the end of the day, we have a job to do and let's get back to work. With that said, I'd like to give my chair's report. So this past week, Shereen and I presented the state of the county at the Elgin Public Theater. I'd like to thank the chamber for hosting this event. The Sterling Nature Center, which you are aware received the New York State, has received the regional award from the 2024 American Public Works Association. Also has just been nominated and received the New York State Award for the same. Now, I haven't really confirmed this with Doug, but I think it actually might make us eligible for potentially a national award. We're trying to find that out, but it is exciting to win the state award. And Doug will be attending a ceremony to accept that. If you haven't been told, I think I've notified everyone that we did obtain another round of air quality service tests on the first floor. Those results were also negative. The removal of items from the first floor began this week. We've already began to clear items out of the county clerk's office and moving the books and items to CCC. I'd like to thank interim county clerk Shelley Patterson for her leadership, Paul and his staff at Building and Grounds, because they are working diligently now to move items from the first floor into CCC. Actually, we're making very good progress with that. At this time, there's not a date for when the clerk's office will be open at CCC. They're still open at the historical post office, and we are still a few weeks away from public access to the books and other documents. In the next few weeks, we'll be looking to announce a time frame for the move to 63 Gen as our staff continues to work hard to prepare the space and plan for the space for our employees and the public. Sometime in the beginning, early April, we will have the investigation of the cause and origin related to the vermiculite, and this is critically needed to determine the cost of remediation. Carl already spoke to the public hearing, so I won't go back into that. At this time, I'd like to move on to our Ways and Means. Prior to beginning Ways and Means, I'd like to call executive session. Ask for a motion to go to executive session. To discuss the employment of a particular person or persons. We have a second by Aileen Coleman. All in favor of executive session?
Aye.
All right, we'll go in the back room. Aileen, hope just Aileen. Else? HR?
I don't know if you need Fred.
Yeah, well,
Did you hear William?
Fred also?
We drank my, Amanda. Fish.
I did, but you know.
Is everybody here?
Might make it by 9.
Smart.
Yeah.
That one, yeah, I know. Know who's sitting next to you.
Just say.
A second from DeVito, all in favor of coming out of the second session.
Aye.
This time, I'd like to call on legislator Bailey.
All right, Ways and Means had 6 resolutions. At the Ways and Means meeting, I'll go over ways 1, 2, and 3, and then hopefully we can get a motion and discussion of any of those. First is Ways and Means 1, authorization to enter into the escrow agreement to fund the retention of consultants to assist with this wind project in the town of Venice and Scipio. Rich went through that, advised that the escrow should be established, and this would do just that. Authorization, WM2, to abolish vacant positions within human resources and civil service and in their control files. This was a resolution presented by Diane Ferris, reflecting the positions that were coming out of the budget. WM3 is authorizing the Human Resource Administrator to fill an HR associate position in human resource due to a vacancy. I'd ask for a motion for WM1, 2, and 3.
I'd like to separate WM1, please.
Okay.
WM1 is separated. Can I get a motion for WM2 and 3?
Make the motion.
Second.
Motion second. All right, discussion on ways and means to be. Without any further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Let's go back to WM1. WM1 has been separated. Can I get a motion for WM1?
Move it.
Second.
Discussion. Mr. Strong.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. W1, I have attended several meetings in the towns of Venice, which is in my district, and Scipio, which is not my district. I have spoken to several of the residents there. I have spoken to, or been in meetings at both boards. And it is my feeling, or their feelings, that they don't, the residents of those areas don't support this agreement. And for that fact, I will be voting no.
I'm going to add to that this is a pilot agreement and a professional agreement here. I believe it also, Rich, please correct me, but this has to do with the escrow account as far as the road service agreement, correct?
Yeah, the purpose of the escrow agreement is for the developer to deposit funds with the county that will be used towards hiring outside engineering firm, and if necessary, an outside legal firm, which is unlikely, but in any event, it does cover that eventuality. And this is so that we can negotiate a road agreement that will protect county roads in connection with this project. And also so we can speak to the application process, which is in front of the state.
I also want to add that this project, the county does not have control over this project. It's local zoning and planning. This referendum or resolution today is to protect the county's interest as it refers to the roadway and ensuring we have funds to service the roadway if the roadway is damaged. Correct. Yeah. So that's the reason for WM1. Any further discussion for WM1? Without further discussion, all in favor of WM1?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Mr. Stone.
WM4 is the authorization to provide a stipend to specific county staff for additional hours worked outside of their department to support the Department of Social Services.
We have a first,
Thank you, second.
we have a second. Discussion.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I have had many conversations both all last year and this year about getting involved with stipends. This isn't the business for the county to be stipending people. Everyone goes above and beyond. As I have learned, being the chair of the legislature 3 times, is that there are seasons for departments. And in 2020, the health department had their season. Oh, there she is. You certainly had your season, where you're going to be slammed and for some critical reason. DSS is almost always in the season of being burned. But we need to look for alternatives. When we see situations arise where we have people spending an inordinate amount of time to complete their tasks or additional and over and above tasks in order to keep this county moving forward. So I think throwing money at this issue is not going to help. I think from what discussions we have had as an entire group, sort of putting our stake in the ground to say, we really don't want to enter into this as a habit. Certainly I don't want to begrudge people who have in fact completed that work and have gone over and above. They are due something. I just feel as though we need to make sure that as a practice, we're shying away from this. You'll see in the resolution, there is a resolve that keeps this open and valid for the year, that people will be stipend every quarter. I don't have it in front of me, hang on. I think that's everything else. Thank you. You will see it on the second page.
Is that the second resolve on the second page?
You got it.
Thanks.
That the above employees will be compensated for their hourly wage on a quarterly basis after the approval of department heads, human resources director, and chair of the legislature for the time that has been worked in excess of the employee's normal work hours and exceeds their compensated time off balances. So, you know, as chair and as the de facto supervisor of department heads in the past, I know that these people have exceeded their compensated time off balances, and they can never get out from underneath them. It just keeps going, and it just keeps getting worse. So we need to be looking for ways to combat this for these folks so they're not working inordinate amounts of time. So I do want to make an amendment to this resolution if we're ready for that. I would like to take out that second resolve on the top of page, that starts on the top of page 2, the second one that's listed. I don't know how that's obviously gonna affect entire resolution, so I believe we might need to discuss that.
I guess my first question is there a second?
I will second the amendment.
We have a first and a second for an amendment.
Can you read the amendment as proposed?
I can read so the amendment that the paragraph we're referring to, be eliminated, says resolved. The above employees will be compensated at their hourly wage on a quarterly basis after the approval of the department head, human resources, director, and chair of the legislature for the time that has been worked in excess of employees' normal hours and exceeds their compensated time off balances. And it be further, but that is on to the second to last resolve. If you want, Mr. Waldron, if you'd like.
No, that's fine. It's fine. No, it's fine.
You're just taking out the automatic renewal.
You're taking the automatic.
Any further stipend, although hopefully there will not be, any further stipend would have to come before this lit body in a form of a resolution. Nothing automatic. That's what removing that would be.
And Chair, the first resolve as well, it says we'll continue to get compensated for direct support provided.
The position of the very first resolve.
Yeah. It says it lists the position. We'll continue to get compensated for direct support provided. It's basically the same thing, but it doesn't say quarterly. Top of the second page. Sorry.
Top of the first page. Top of the second page. This resolves top of the first page.
Yeah, the first and they're right together.
That's the second resolve.
Yeah, yeah, but then what?
The first resolves on the first page.
Okay, not in this one. I have. I have, so the ones that say.
Flip it over.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so you have the resolve where it lists the positions and the amounts.
That the positions of chief assistant county attorney,
That one.
director of finance,
Yep.
budget director will continue to get compensated for direct support provided to the Department of Social Services for those hours above their normal hours, only after their compensated time off balance has been exceeded. And it be further, that's the also like to eliminate that paragraph.
Well, right.
Modify it.
So I think, yeah, modified.
So just to be clear, the amendment is to remove both of those resolves, which are the first and second in the top of the second page. And Mr. Vitale supports the removal of both of those resolves. I'm just asking just to be clear because there may have been some confusion.
So let me reread the resolution as amended. I'll start with the last whereas. Whereas the 2025 budget has funding available to support such compensation from unfilled positions. Now therefore be resolved, the Cayuga County Legislature authorizes the payment of a stipend to the following staff for work provided to the Social Services Department during the period of January 1, 24 through the December 31st, 24 as follows. Chief Assistant County Attorney, $5,500. Director of Finance, $6,300. Budget Director, $1,600 for a total of $13,400. And may it be further Resolved, the following budget transfers are made, increase 142015100 increase 101 6300, increase A 123015100 decrease A 601 Be it further resolved, the Cayuga County Finance Department hereby authorizes and direct to transfers and make journal accounting entries required to implement the intent of this resolution. Mr. Shea.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Is this time still being incurred for 25? I mean, this resolution is for the end of 24.
Resolution is for 24.
We still have these departments incurring time on their activity.
I don't know,
25?
I don't know the answer to that currently, sir. I was looking to it. My understanding is that may be taking place, but we need to work and resolve that.
I understand that, but
No other stipends will be paid.
But perhaps we could end that with a date on this resolution and be done with it.
Effective, in other whereas.
Whereby until a certain time, and then after that, do no more stipends. Whatever the,
Well, there is a date on here till that shows the December 31st, 2024, that indicates to the end of last year.
yes,
Right.
If I can jump in, just because we're talking, there's an amendment on the floor. And Mr. Shea, you appear to be either wanting to amend a second provision. And, I don't want to have everybody get confused as to too many amendments. So can we vote on one amendment at a time and then maybe, or vote on one amendment and then maybe you propose a second amendment?
that's,
Let's move
Just want to
forward.
be clear and have everybody on the same.
Let's move forward on the current amendment. All right. Any other conversation on the current amendment? Okay. All in favor of the resolution as amended?
No, just the amendment.
Oh, as the amendment, I'm
Just the
sorry.
amendment.
It's the amendment. That's why I was going slow.
No, you're good.
In favor is the resolution. I mean, sorry, the amended resolution.
No.
No, just
The amendment. The
All in
amendment.
favor. of the
All in
amendment.
favor of the amendment.
for all that, I'll move it.
Aye.
Well, now we're ready. We're voting on it. All right, aye. Okay. Any opposed to the amendment? Mr. Fletcher. All right.
And Mr. Shea, did you have anything? I'm sorry, I should not have interrupted.
No, that's okay. That's all right. That's what we're going with.
Do we not have to vote on it as amended?
Not yet. Not yet,
Not
because
yet.
we still have answers.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Still have comments, discussion. Any further discussion on the amendment as amended? Mr. Shea, you have any, as a resolution as amended?
Your hand.
I don't care. I just,
I can address part of that. I know my office has been involved in doing DSS work since January of this year. I can't sit here and tell you how much we have done, but I know we have been in family court this year.
all right, I'm making no further amendments,
Okay,
Mr. Chair.
all right, now I can jump ahead to,
As amended.
all right.
Resolution as amended.
Well, I gotta get a first and a second.
Sure.
Yes. Can I get a first, can I get a motion? for the
I'll move it.
Resolution as amended.
A second.
Second. We have a first and a second on the resolution as amended. Any further discussion? No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Mr. Beck.
Yes, sorry.
We have three.
And Mr. Strong.
No. Yeah, Mr. Vital, Ms. Coleman, Mr. Patrick.
Oh, I missed Mr. Beck.
No,
No,
No.
you didn't? Oh, okay. I thought he put his
it's
chance.
the one.
He's looking for another kiss, I guess.
Is that all take?
Enjoying a beer. Yeah, okay.
Pleasure.
All right, we got 5 and 6.
5 is authorize the county treasurer to promote a real property clerk to principal account clerk position and abolish the real property clerk position in the treasurer's office. I'll go through WM6 is to authorize the chair of the legislature to sign a contract with Vanguard Research and Title Services Inc. for in-rems title search reports.
5 and 6 together.
A second.
First and second with 5 and 6. Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor of 5 and 6?
Aye.
Any opposed? So moved. Thank you. At this time, I'd like to remind everyone, we do have a public hearing. If you'd like to call in, it's 315-294-8051. You should speak on the public hearing pursuant to the article, General Municipal Law 60, to make appropriations from Anderson Park Green Repair Reserve to complete repairs in Anderson Park of Lane. At this time, I'd like to move on to legislator Nightingale.
Mr. Chair. HHS had 15 resolutions, which went through committee, one amended, two tabled. I'd like to present HH1, which was amended at Ways. This is authorizing the chair of the legislature and the public health director to enter into contracts for professional engineer assistance with septic systems and public water approval systems. Based on some predictions coming in the busy season of some medical leave and retirement. The amendment reads, resolved that the chair of the legislature and the public health director be authorized to enter into contracts with various professional engineers or engineering firms to assist with completing required approvals for septic system installations and for modification and public water supply system updates or modifications at an hourly rate not to exceed $150 per hour.
All right, we have HH1 motion.
I'll move it.
Second,
Second.
any discussion on HH1? Without further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chair, I would like to bundle HH2, HH10, HH11, and HH15. All of these are fills which are budgeted.
And we have a motion for 2, 10, 11, and 15.
I'll move it.
And a second.
Second.
Second
my
from
job.
Mr. Vitale. Discussion on 2, 10, 11, and 15. No further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I'd also like to bundle, Mr. Chair, HH3, HH7, HH8, HH9, HH13, and HH14. All of these are resolutions which authorize the chair and the applicable department heads to enter into contract agreements for their departments. Most of these are renewable contracts and updating contracts that exist.
All right, we have a motion for, I need a motion for 3, 7, 8, 9, 13, and 14.
Move it. Second.
Discussion on the bundle. No discussion on the bundle, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Would offer HH6, which is accepting funds from the New York State in the form of adoption and legal guardianship incentive program payments. This will work to help the Department of Social Services in providing program incentives for, particularly in the area of kinship care within its foster and adoption units.
Motion for HH6.
Make motion.
Second.
Second.
Second. Discussion. No further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And Mr. Chair, we had two resolutions, HH4 and HH12, tabled at Ways and Means, which HH4, we can, I actually maybe would like to look at these separately. HH4, authorizing the public health director to purchase a vehicle for the health department. HH12, authorizing the Commissioner of Social Services to purchase vehicles for the health department. These were tabled because we received updates that evening from Brian Soper regarding our fleet information with usage, current miles, and numbers of miles used in 2024. And there was some interest in looking at the fact that there are some very low mile cars and cars that are putting on low mileage on a yearly rate, sometimes as low as 1,000 miles and 4,000 miles. That was the purpose of the tabling, to full ledge for discussion.
Are you introducing them today?
Yes.
Okay. If you have them on this. Page 4. Oh.
Want to take them off the table?
Motion.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna need a motion to take them off the table.
I'll move that.
We need a second to take. Second. We got a motion and a second. Discussion on taking them off the table. Anybody? Yes.
I think it's important to take them off the table and have a conversation now and get the conversation rolling as we look at our fleet and look at what is real and reasonable at a time when we are in a financial crunch. These are budgeted vehicles, but they may not be vehicles that, as we find through the research done by Silver, that department head, that are particularly needed at this time and money that we need to expend at this time.
So I'd asked for this list. Actually, I asked Maren, my secretary, to assemble this list. It became apparent, you know, I started asking questions about cars. And I started asking about mileage, who has what, and no one could answer me those questions. So I asked Maren to reach out to all the departments, compile a list. Now, I did leave the sheriff off. There's a couple reasons why I left the sheriff's department off. I know that came up. The sheriff's office does have their own fleet manager. One of their deputies is assigned to fleet management. The sheriff is in a unique position because those cars are public safety cars, are used as emergency response vehicles. And typically he does carry them to over 100,000 miles. I looked at his miles reports and he's got vehicles currently in place that have over 100,000 miles on them. When I received a report from Maren with the assembly of the vehicles that I asked her to put together, it became imperative that these vehicles, some of them only being driven 3,000 miles a year and have as little miles, 2016s with 41,000 miles on. I drive a 2018 with 125,000 miles on it. I think there's life left in these vehicles. The only argument that I potentially personally would support, even in our budget situation, which I don't think we need to buy cars this year for anyone personally. But with that said, DSS cars are reimbursed at 66%, and we do have to hold them. I think I was told 3 years, it could be 2, but there is a time frame we have to hold them. Health department cars are reimbursed at 33 cents on the dollar as part of their reimbursements. And then they always go over their allotment. So by not buying cars, there's another amount of money that potentially doesn't go, you know, helps them from going over their allotment per se. I think there's an opportunity to look at our fleet. I think there's an opportunity to evaluate it. I think there's an opportunity for us to have a fleet supervisor or somebody overlooking our fleet that can, as vehicles come in, they can look at mileage and then they can take vehicles that are low mileage and repurpose them to somebody to put miles on and keep that fleet rolling. And if it starts with social service vehicles being in the fleet because they're 66% reimbursed, and then we use those cars and keep rotating them through, I think there's an opportunity to save money and save the county money as well.
I don't want to speak for you, Heidi, but I think you're in agreement too, that it's prudent to wait till we get the assessment and any recommendations before, irregardless of, at this point, just have somebody objectively take a look and make a recommendation, what makes sense.
This body's been very vocal about finding ways to save money. You know, it's been my mission to find ways internally through either efficiency and identifying those ways. And vehicles are one of those things that in the first month of being here, I've found the list and started the conversation. It's a little talk, and I'm happy to have this conversation. But I think that this is an opportunity in a way that we could find ways to have let's spur it on.
I'd also like to mention, although I do not like the fact that this is happening, because I think that there are huge risks and liabilities to the county and also remarkable public safety issues, et cetera. We are down 8 caseworkers in our social service department. So the two cars asked there, I wonder about the real need for usage now when we are down 8. I'd love to be able to present to you next month that we got those caseworkers and we have them, but we don't. So there's 8 caseworkers right now who would not typically be using cars as they normally would if we were fully staffed.
I agree. Anybody else? Okay, we have a motion on table. We have to take a vote on it, right? Yes. Yeah.
So I separated them out earlier.
Would you like to bundle them or leave them separate?
But bundling after this conversation, I think makes sense. HH4 and HH12.
So HH4 and HH5 are currently, HH4 and HH12 are currently tabled and bundled. The motion is to untable. All in favor, we're voting on,
Why would we,
we have to untable them in order to move forward. And that's
why can't we leave?
Is the intent just to have a discussion? or
And leave them
get
tabled.
the Resolutions on the table and then vote?
My intent was to have the discussion, leave them on the table.
So is it to refer them back to Health and Human next
Table
month?
them after.
I think we-
Results of the car
Right,
assessment.
we have, as we started the discussion, we have an ongoing assessment happening. So I would leave them tabled until this body has all of the information to make, a critically thought out decision about HH4 and HH12.
So you're leaving them, are you
Indefinitely.
leaving them on the table? Definitely.
Yeah.
So at this point, they're tabled to Health and Human.
Once the report's done,
Right.
Correct.
they'll come back.
Health and Human may next month have enough information to make a decision to move them forward or not. Was your intent tonight just to have a discussion
Yes.
on these matters? You're not asking for the legislature to vote them up or down at this point?
Correct.
You want to withdraw the motion? Or just?
I've never encountered this
Yeah.
before.
No. Take them off the table to keep them there, right?
We can take a vote to untable.
Or just
Just refer, we could make a
And again, I'm.
motion to refer to HHS.
So.
keep them, yeah. Can't we
Sorry, Mr. Strong.
Can I make a motion to put them back to health?
leave them on the table until they come back,
Just rescind the motions.
right?
The motion, right.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, I'm gonna rescind.
Or just take the motion, yes.
All right, Heidi, rescind, like legislator Langell, you rescind the motion to put them on the table.
Oh, take off.
Take off the table.
Come on.
Yeah.
Yes. It is rescinded.
Deal and Vitality.
We move on.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Whatever that. Hang on.
We still have HH5, Heidi.
Swing batter.
HH5 is not.
Yes, HH5 is the final resolution to discuss. This is a budget modification. The public health department, it's a modification in the WIC program.
We'll move. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So. At this time, I'd like to close the public hearing. So the hearing is now closed. Legislator Malville.
Thank you, Chairman. We have 6 resolutions. GO2 was pulled, but GO1 is authorizing the county clerk to retain necessary expenses for mortgage tax clerk. I'd like to move for discussion.
I'll move it.
So
I need a second.
Second.
we tasked our department heads when we were doing budget cutting, ways to, save money and to make money, to save their department and their employees. And I'm sure at one point when the county was healthy, us giving this money back over to the counties for not doing the townships was a good act and we were financially healthy. But does it make, I just asked the body when you vote on this, does it make sense with our financial condition to allow, to give that money back that we're doing all the work for right now? And I know that a lot of you guys represent a lot of township, but we simply, to me, can't afford it. One of the beauty things is this did not come up by me as a chair. This came from our department heads and people working in departments to retain their employees. So I'd like to put up a motion, but I want everybody to be clearly to understand that this money is not costing us anything. It's money that we are doing the work on and we're giving it to the townships. And right now, I don't know if we can afford it.
If I can just clarify, so the mortgage tax, we receive it and then we redistribute it to the towns. The only portion we keep is an administrative fee just to cover our expenses. This is not, we're not making money off this. This is just covering the administrative expenses. The last time this was adjusted was in 2016, and there is currently an $82,000 gap between the cost of administering the program and the amount that we keep to cover our administration costs, and that's where this came from. So this is not going to cost consumers any additional funds. This is just our administrative fee, like we administer fees of doing any other work, whether real property does work for towns and we collect fees for our work. This is just the administrative cost of administering the program and doing the labor. And I just wanted to clarify that. Any other discussion? Mr. Vice.
I'd like to make a motion to table this until next month's government ops. My issue here is that these are legal charges and we have to justify that it's actually costing us this kind of money. And if it was challenged, I would like to make sure that we as a county really have our ducks in a row, that it does cost us this money. I would like to have, I don't know if it's real property that really does this work. Fred?
I think it's the county clerk.
County clerk's office, but
Might be a little challenging if I could jump in.
I actually have the expenditure sheet right now with the expenses provided by the county clerk. I think they're in everybody's packet, indicating the salaries and indicating the approximate time spent along with the expenditures that he left over to come up with the rate of 282 that he came up with regarding.
So my issue is here is $82,000. So that's basically one person, one employee working 40 hours a week, every week. This is all they do.
No.
That's kind of the real simplified method here, but I'm just not confident that it's one person doing this every single day, 7 days, 5 days a week, 52 weeks a year.
Couldn't it be a portion of each individual clerk?
I think
There's a-
It can be a portion of it. What I'm saying is that kind of money, this is what it equates to.
What you're saying is it can be spread out through the whole department.
That's what I think the sheet
Yeah.
probably says. I don't know.
All right, I have a motion to table. I do not have a second.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Okay, further discussion on the table. Mr. Vitale, who would you like to do the audit? This information came from the county clerk's
Well,
office.
if it's gotta come from the county clerk's office, then I guess give it to us again and we'll hash it over again in government ops. I don't think it's a matter of timing here. I mean, we're not gonna collect this money today, are we?
No.
No, you're not.
No.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes.
We're still discussing.
Yes, we still discuss.
I also want to point out that was a change that it was initially money set aside for employee positions, to save those positions, and that.
Well, the conversation was like this, is, as you know, we had the department overview, the county clerk was in here quite frequently. And the conversation went to if to me with the former clerk is, what if I go to department heads and we can figure out a way or if I can figure out a way to make some money and maybe I keep my employees. And I said, and I said, I don't see and the first thing they brought up was this tax. They said, this is money we're giving to the towns. If we just kept that, maybe I keep one employee. And I thought that was honorable. I mean, that's what, we're gonna get rid of an employee. And I thought it was a good solution. I did,
I just want to clarify that.
Yeah.
And though it has been discussed, pointed out that this would go into the general fund.
Well, I'll tell you, that's something I'm gonna debate.
Well, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah, eventually I'm gonna debate that because, this is this was something that we wouldn't have found. This is something somebody worked hard on and putting in the general fund and then cutting somebody else and it's kind of, to me, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
I think it's kind of a moot point at this point. It started to try to retain
Yeah.
the two employees that were being laid off.
Retain those two employees.
But when it was realized that this money isn't even going to be realized till 2026, I didn't see there was any path forward, that there would be any money taken from the contingency or the general fund to get 8 vote support to reestablish, to keep those positions. So I think this now, to me, did not have anything to do with that. There were 2 layoffs. One's working at the clerk. Unfortunately, the other one will be laid off April 1st. Hopefully be called back on a preferred eligible list at the end of the year. But this to me is looking at ways to keep additional revenue for the county
So,
that we're eligible for.
and the only reason why, and I agree with that because we found that out after. But it still comes back to the county, right? So it still comes back to the county. But the one reason why I want to encourage this, because imagine if every department head did this, took the time to research. Not everybody has that option, but if they did, they're help solving our problem with us. So I'm in support of the resolution, but I'd like to have that conversation later on.
Anyone else? Mr. Strong?
I want to be clear that the positions are not in the clerk's office, they are in the DMV office, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
Yep.
Mr. Chair, I believe we have time on this one to, as Legislator Vitale said, just to verify.
I have no objection to that. I just.
Well, we need to vote on the table.
We do, I just want,
Right.
discussion.
Okay.
I just want to clarify, I understand the motivation of the previous county clerk. I also understand the fact that the cost of doing business has increased and inflationary pressures have also, on our pay raises has made the cost of doing business more expensive. And we are entitled to reimbursement of those costs and those administrative fees. With that said, this was presented and put together by the former county clerk. So with that said, I will vote for the tabling. We are not in a hurry. There's no reason not to.
I will too.
These numbers and just reaffirm what the former county clerk put in place. So for that reason, I will support the table. So if there's no other further discussion, all in favor of the present proposal?
Hans says-
You want to say
I
something?
wanted to speak here.
Yes, I'm sorry. Hans. Yes.
Basically, I can't justify it at this time, and in particular, if it's going to the general fund. The only place, if we collect a motor vehicle tax, that I'd have to justify to my constituents, it would be to the highway fund. Does that make sense?
This, we're not talking about that. We're
Ain't there
talking
yet.
about the county clerk mortgage tax fee, but understood.
Thank you.
So, all right, any further discussion? All in favor of the motion to table?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Okay, GO2 was pulled. I'm just taking notes. And with GO3, the fix the date notice of public hearing for local law for the year 2025 Cayuga County motor vehicle tax to New York State law 1202 and 1202E, 1202A and 1202E. Yet again, this is something the former clerk and whoever he worked with came up with. Oh, can I motion for discussion?
I just shared motion put on the table, right?
I'll move.
No.
It's the vehicle use tax
You moved
resolution.
both of them?
We haven't moved it yet.
Yeah, one we just moved.
Right.
Oh, I moved down to 3.
Right, yeah.
You just put that on the table as
No,
well?
no, we can't.
Okay, I didn't put anything on the table. I'm still talking. I was discussing. I'm gonna have a discussion. All right.
You're introducing GO3 and I'll.
Introduce it, Jill.
And I'll second.
All right.
Well, you started discussing it, that's.
Well, yeah, they stopped. So, here's the thing, okay? It's not that expensive. I know it's expensive, but I know a lot of people, I did this is my own research and survey. Most people don't even know how much they pay in registration fees. And it's $5 per year for what weight and $10.
It would be $5
For cars, 3.
and it's 2-year registration, so $10
$10.
and
$10 for trucks.
And what this does is, I think this helps us with making the department motor vehicle be fully staffed for people not working, if they keep it in there. It also keeps the motor vehicle here. I know some people are opposing it, but I know a lot of people want the motor vehicle department here. And also it generates revenue. I mean, this is another good shot at generating the revenue for the county. And if I went to 1,000 people, I guarantee nobody knows how much they're paying the registration fees. So, and I'm not saying that we're trying to sneak it in. I'm just saying that it's one of those things that are absolute, and then we're not taxing everybody. We're taxing the people that have vehicles. And I think we have a list of all the vehicles that are excluded. So I think that made me feel a little bit more comfortable. Thank you, Fred, for sending that to me. But I'm in favor of this, so.
Well, we're not sneaking anything in. This is.
No, I'm just saying, when I said.
This is just to schedule a public hearing.
I'm putting it out there because I said that most people don't know, and I didn't want people to assume that we were sticking in a $5 or $10 fees.
I know this is only a public hearing, but I want to be very clear on my position on this. Is if it was only just everybody had one vehicle and maybe 2 in their driveway, I might even be able to support this. However, I have several large trucking companies with multiple vehicles, maybe some is even over 100 vehicles. It would be extremely devastating to put a $20 tax on someone that has over 100 vehicles in their fleet. I have multiple small business folks that have anywhere from 10 to 20 cars or vehicles in their small business. And again, a small business owner that has to put another $20 or $10 per vehicle. It's not just a one-time, it was $10 or whatever, I can live with it. It's for a business that has to incur, another added tax on their business. So at this point in time, I realize, again, I understand this is only to set the public hearing, but at this time, I cannot support this.
I also want to make this clear. This could have been done by a resolution. This does not need to be done by a local law. I felt it was imperative to do a local law to ensure a public hearing. And so this was done with full transparency and had an opportunity for the public to chime in. Heidi.
Well, actually, as you were speaking and I was raising my hand, we were saying the same thing. I wanted to mention that the importance of the public hearing, because we have heard from the public in all kinds of ways, social media, letters to the editor, et cetera. And as a policymaker and a legislator, I'd like to be able to hear from them and not make assumptions from even my colleagues or my neighbors, or I'd rather have the public hearing, public to be heard, to move forward, what best to do.
Anybody else?
I too agree, like I don't normally vote against a public hearing on an issue, but I don't want to seem disingenuous. I will not be supporting this. So I am not going to vote for this moving forward. I do not want to put that out there, but I would support it.
Any other comment? All right, with that said, we're gonna vote on whether or not we should continue with this and hold a public hearing. All in favor of fixing a day of notice for public hearing for the 2025 Cayuga County Motor Vehicle Use Tax? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Measure fails. Measure is defeated.
Too bad.
All making two.
All right, GO4, fixed day of notice public hearing on a local law providing salary increase for certain county official elected or appointed to fixed term and during their term. Move it.
Remind me.
Hmm?
Can you remind me which?
I can't hear you.
I don't know.
It's the county attorneys.
My voice is going as the day's going.
County attorneys and, yeah.
Oh, we separated it out. I mean, not.
Nobody put a motion up for that yet.
I thought this was the
No.
commissioners.
No, board, that's
Board of
been,
Election
that was
Commissioners.
pulled. GO2, we separated out the Board of Elections and we pulled that at Ways and Means.
Okay.
And then we moved forward with the county attorney, setting it, the date and time of public hearing. Salary change for our county attorneys.
Need a first and a second for GO4.
But second,
Okay, first and second. Any further discussion on GO4? Without further discussion, all in favor of GO4?
Aye.
Any opposed?
You wanna come to it? I'm gonna have, Diana,
Discuss
discuss these two resolutions.
All right, let's put them on the table first.
All right,
GO5 and 6, we'd like to bundle.
Yeah,
All right, bundle 5 and 6. Can I get a motion? And a
I'll
second?
move that.
I don't get,
Separate the bundle.
Separate the bundle. Okay.
I'm glad we separated, Jack, 'cause I don't get chances to bundle too much of GO ops. GO ops, I wanted to do it. That's my chance.
Separate 5 and 6. We'll be doing number 5. And I got a motion on this second for GO5.
And that's could you go over it?
GO5 is authorization to create and index a recording clerk in the county clerk's office. I need a second
I'll second it for discussion.
discussion.
So, Shereen has met with, Shelley Patterson, who has stepped in to fill in why we do not have a county clerk. In reviewing their staffing, what we're trying to do is realign some of the duties. They have a position open that is a senior clerk, due to a resignation. And it was discussed that this would better serve the office to have an index and recording clerk because of the number of documents that come in from the courts and mortgage companies, et cetera, that need to be processed and filed to ensure that these are being done on time. There is a slight increase in salary going from a grade 8 to a grade 14, but because of the senior clerk being recently open and then having a month's vacancy with a previous index and recording clerk, there has been some savings within their budget to cover this increase for this year.
Is this the temporary?
No, this is
that's
permanent.
All right, this is permanent change.
Yes,
Nothing to do with the fact that the clerk and the deputy one are
right.
not in the office. This is just movement of a position from senior clerk that makes more sense.
It's looking at the duties that need to be done in the office, that this position makes more sense than to have a
The
senior.
senior clerk will be unfunded or abolished or whatever.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
We have somebody to fill this slot?
We do not yet. We would have to
Okay.
post that position.
Okay.
We would be looking at reaching out to the individual in the DMV who is going to be laid off to see if she would be interested in applying.
Great.
Any other discussion? No further questions? Without further questions, we have GO5. All in favor of GO5?
Aye.
Any opposed? GO6, I need a motion and a second.
Second.
Taking my thunder, man. GO ops. Let me get my 6 resolutions in, okay? I didn't get 40 of them. I just want 6.
GO6 again is looking at realigning the duties within the office, with the deputy two taking on the roles of the responsibility of the county clerk until a new county clerk is named. She felt this would be very, useful to her to have a deputy three to help with a lot of the accounting functions within and the finance functions within the office, while she takes on these additional responsibilities. So again, we're just realigning. She is looking at moving an index and recording clerk into this position. It's temporary until the county clerk is either elected or named on an interim basis. And then this person would retreat back to their index and recording clerk position. So again, there would be some savings within the budget to cover that.
Just a point of clarification, if the deputy clerk one was to come back from medical leave, she would come back from medical leave and
she would assume the duties of the clerk at that time.
Okay.
Right, she can step into that role. This person would go back to the index and recording position.
we're basically not adding any new bodies
No.
to the clerk's office.
It's just
Okay.
temporarily reassigning some of the job duties so that everything is being done.
But we have to still find the person for 5. And we have the person for 6.
We have a person in 6, yes. She would take one of her current index and recording clerks and move her into this role. And then she would return back to that position once we have a county clerk.
Hence the temporary.
This is a
Yes.
okay. Temporary position based upon our current circumstances.
Correct.
I'm sorry. So that is new to me that you have somebody identified currently and that they will not be paid in their current position, move to this position and go back.
Right.
Because I read this in the newspaper. That's how I found out about it. And I was very concerned about who would possibly take this position. And I didn't know, I didn't have the details, so.
Yes, she has identified somebody on staff who has skill level to do the position, so she would like to move her into that role.
Okay.
Any further discussion? And without further discussion, all in favor of DO6?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Shea.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to share my 5 with Mr. Legislator Muldrow if he wants to.
I got 2. I'll just take 2 of your 5.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, planning has 5 resolutions. PL 1 is authorization to create and fill a principal environmental planner position and abolish an associate planner position at the Department of Planning and Economic Development. PL 2 is authorizing an application to the EFC program for wastewater engineering plant grants. PL 3, authorizing the replacement of lighting for Emerson Park Pavilion. PL 4, authorize the application to the Northern Border Regional Commission Catalyst Program. The proposed 20% funding match to be from Capital H Project number 21-02. PL 5 is after the public hearing, authorization to appropriate funds from the Emerson Park Reserve Account A18835, complete Emerson Park Pavilion repairs utilizing Pavilion Repair Reserve, and approving execution of agreements. I'll make a motion to bundle if the board is so inclined.
I'll second that bundle.
All right, you got a first and second on the bundle. Any discussion on the bundle? Presented 1 through 5 on common. Without further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Legislator McHugh.
Thank you, Chairman. Public Works has 11 resolutions. They've been all through committee and Ways and Means. I'd like to start by bundling PW 1 and 2. Both these are to fill part-time position and to fill a superintendent in the round. I'd like to make a motion for PW 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Now you got it.
We got first set of PW2 discussion on PW 1 and 2. Without further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Okay. And next, I'd like to bundle PW 3, 4, and 5. And 3 is for a maintenance agreement for the public safety building HVAC. 4 is for contract for A&M Graphics for provide signage for 63 Genesee Street. And 6 is to contract with Allied Universal to provide security services for 63 Genesee Street.
Nightingale moved the bundle.
Second.
First and second on 3, 4, and 5. Discussion on 3, 4, and 5.
I could, Mr. Chairman, I appreciate Amanda Gray coming in to describe PW5. I know that maybe she wasn't able to attend Public Works initially. I had some questions, so
And I apologize, it's unavailable for other reasons.
it makes sense, and I can get that information.
Thank you. Yes.
I don't know if this is necessary. I guess I'll refer to the county attorney. PW5, we had a rather lengthy discussion about the $222,000 and 2 security, or 3 security. I think Mr. Vitale made the motion that start with 3 and then you can go on from there if it appears that it seems like it's in excess of what we need. Is there any reason to amend the resolution to say up to authorize the county to pay up to $222,000? Then if we wanted to go down, we would, or it's a moot point, as long as we don't exceed it.
Part of what you're asking is to include language in the contract, I think.
Yep.
To make sure that depending on the needs of the building, that the county retains the ability to work with the vendor to reduce it to 2 if need be.
I do think that from what Amanda told me, that is the case. I was just thinking, should the resolution read, the county would authorize to pay up to that amount? Or it doesn't really matter?
To me, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because
all right.
you're going to authorize the payment of that amount. And
okay.
If you go above that, we would have to come back to the.
And less than that wouldn't be that big of an issue. Yes.
Default to the general.
Okay.
We're stopping.
Any other discussion? JP, no further discussion on PW5. Oh, sorry, 3, 4, and 5 was a bundle. All in favor of 3, 4, and 5?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so moved.
Yeah, I apologize. I should have included PW6 in that bundle, but PW6 is for the cleaning services of 63 Genesee Street.
I'll move it.
Second.
Nightingale, second.
Any discussion on PW6? Without further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And finally, I'd like to bundle PW 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. All these are with to do with the material bid contracts, extensions of some of the bids, 6-month extension on 2 State Street. We're increasing the revenue from state snow and ice removal for extra salt, and authorizing the highway superintendent to enter into agreement for the towns to mow the county roads.
Going back. Second on 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Second.
Second, thank you. Discussion on 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. All right, without further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Judicial and Public Safety has a total of 11 resolutions that went through committee. I guess I would like to start out by offering up JP1, JP2, and JP3 as a bundle. They're all dealing with authorizing the chair to sign various contracts. JP1, maintenance of the HVAC unit at the 911 backup center. JP2, dealing with cleaning at the Cayuga County Assigned Counsel Office, and JP3 to sign a contract with the New York State Office of Indigent Legal Services.
I'll move 1, 2, and 3.
Second.
Discussion on 1, 2, and 3. Without further discussion, all in favor of 1, 2, and 3?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. I'd also like to offer up as a bundle JP4, JP5, and JP11. They are all dealing with accepting grants. JP5 are with the Strive program for the DA's office as well as probation. And JP11 deals with accepting grant for hazmat funds for the Emergency Management Office.
I'll move 4, 5, and 11.
I'll second.
Got a first and a second. Any discussion on 4, 5, 11? Without further discussion on 4, 5, 11, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Talk about JP6, authorize the chair of the Cayuga County Legislature and the Cayuga County Sheriff to enter into an agreement with Cayuga Onondaga BOCES to provide vocational training to the incarcerated population.
Nightingale, move it.
Second.
Discussion. No further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
And also standing alone, JP7, authorizing the disbursement of planned annual appropriations to the Cayuga County Schools for after-prom events for academic year 2024-2025 from the Stop DWI program budget.
I'll move it.
I'll second.
All right, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
And lastly, I'd like to offer up as a bundle, JP8, JP9, and JP10, all for hires within the Emergency Management Office, all budgeted for 2025.
Move 8, 9, and 10.
Second.
We got first, second, 8, 9, 10. Any discussion on 8, 9, 10? No discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You have several alleged resolutions tonight. It's got to be done again, authorizing claims to be disposed and dates.
I move.
As a button.
Second.
Discussion. All.
Mr. Chairman.
Hold on. We got hands.
I would like to separate the CCIDA and CCDC.
We have a motion to separate the CCIDA and the CCDC.
I'll second that.
We have a second.
Hold on, I want to separate 1, 2.
Well, hold on. Let's take one thing at a time, please.
Good.
Right now, the motion on the table to separate CCIDC and on. All right, we have a motion. All in favor of separating?
Aye.
All opposed to the separating?
1, 2, 3.
All right, they're separated.
Yeah, I'd like to, do we vote on, what's next? I want to separate a couple too.
All right, you can start with anything you'd like, Mr. Muldrow.
I want to separate, Community Service Board. And I want to separate Traffic Security Board.
You want to separate everybody on traffic safety board?
No, I kind of want to, I don't want to separate everybody. I want to make a statement before I don't know what I want to do, okay? But what I want to do is, because I don't know the proper thing and I want to make a statement before it's my time to talk. So I just, that's it. I don't want to.
Separation is appropriate.
Separation is appropriate, yeah.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's start. Was it just the traffic safety board, Mr. Muldrow?
And the Community Service
Community
Board.
Services Board. All right, let's start off with the alcohol substance. abuse.
I'll second the.
I'm sorry.
I'll second that.
Second that. All in favor of the separation of the Community Service Board and Traffic Safety Board?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, separated. All right, with that said, let's.
You got mental health too. You can, that's not separated.
No, we're gonna start with alcohol substance abuse subcommittee, mental health subcommittee,
Okay.
Cayuga County Planning Board, CCDC, Cayuga County Water and Soil. And that should be it. All in favor of those appointments?
CCDC was separated.
Oh, CCDC was separated. I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I missed
CCIDA.
that one. I forgot CCIDA, mistake. All right. I'm sorry. Let's go back to, alcohol and substance abuse committee, mental health subcommittee, Cayuga County Planning Board, Cayuga County Water and Soil. Is that here?
Yep.
Okay, discussion on, we got a motion and a second for those.
Move it. Get a motion, James. Move it.
All right, I was second. Discussion on those. Okay, without discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, any opposed? Okay. Mr. Muldrow, now we'll move on to the Community Services Board and the Traffic Safety Board.
So I made this statement in the past about diversity. And I hope all these people make the board. I hope they all make the board committee, but I'm making a statement that we need more board members that are not repeating themselves. So the only reason why I circle, and I, like I said, I have no heart, so many people I don't know. The reason why I separate them is because I've seen their name multiple times. And I want to get us out of a custom of doing that and look for other people. So for that reason, without any personal, that I don't know any of these people other than, I know one. I know one. And the only reason why I picked the traffic safety board because because I know that Mark's really passionate about soil and water. And just in case it wasn't personal. So I'll be voting no. I know it's just because I know it's gonna pass, but I want different people, different last names, different people that are not on the same boards. For that reason, I'm gonna be voting no. I just wanted to separate them to make that statement.
I need a first and a second.
I'll move it.
All right, now I have a second for those.
I'll second it.
Second.
That's what it needs.
Any other discussion?
So I'm sorry.
We're on the Community Services Board and Traffic Safety Board.
So, do we have to vote on these two today? I mean,
I'm not opposing I'm just saying I'm willing to vote just because I just want some, some different ideas from diversity and other people.
I just want to point out though, some of these terms go all the way to 28. And these are a lot of the same names on here that have been on here for 15, 20 years. I joined in your resolution to say that we need new people on the board. We have a resolution we're working on Mr. Vitale does to work on, to make this determination at the county. We have over 74,000 people in this county, and you cannot tell me that the same 12 people are serving on these boards and committees over and over again. And sometimes we wonder why we're not moving fast enough. We need new ideas, new representation. We need representation from every corner of this county, not from the same town, not from the same legislative district. It's really important. We have critical projects going on in some of these boards. The part they play in county government is tremendous. So we have to make sure we get it right. And if we go ahead with all these appointments tonight through 2028, that's what, how long is it?
So what I do recognize is these boards have a lot of important duties and tasks to do, and I don't want to hold the situation. So I'm willing to vote tonight, but I know right now that there's nobody proposed to be on these boards. So I don't want to just wait and for us to search people. I appreciate everybody's effort. Like I'm like, if you're on multiple boards and you're trying to be part of the community, I really applaud, I applaud that. But we need different people, and I'm not going to slow it down tonight. I'm voting yes, I'm voting no. It's just as a statement because I believe most of these people have done great work on other boards and they're going to make the board.
Yeah.
Any further?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to, in a sense, appreciate Legislator Muldrow's statement. But we have a process to get people on these boards, and you submit a name. And it's up to us to go and ask people if they're interested in serving on these boards. These are volunteers.
Yeah.
That put a lot of their time and part of their lives on hold just to do service for this county. And I don't think the fact that they would agree to serve year after year or term after term is they just have a passion for what they're doing. So we do have a process in place, and it's a submittal process, recommendation, and it doesn't seem to be talked about. But I do appreciate all of these volunteers, whether it doesn't matter what the topic is, and we should acknowledge their volunteers' efforts and time that they put in. So that's
First of all, I appreciate your comments, Legislator Muldrow, and I agree with you 150%. And you're not slowing anything down because if we don't make an appointment, these are all holdovers. Stay there. They continue to do the work and we appreciate it. But by taking the time to look for other people, we're not slowing anything down. So I wouldn't have a problem at all.
I'm not gonna let you know right now, but what I will tell you is I agree with what you said, Bob. And I strategically did not pick the the alcohol and substance abuse because there was only one person on there. And the name was repeated twice. The same person on the community service board. I know that when you get good board members, people talk about it and they end up on multiple boards. So I figure that this person is a great board member. I also I didn't pick soil and water because I know Mark's passionate about it and he's too close to me. Might throw something at me, but also if you look at traffic and safety board, there's multiple people on that board. So I didn't make it personalized like that. I think all these people were vetted by these boards and the people assigned to them there. And I believe they should be on these boards. But moving in the future, even though it's 2028, I want to make a statement. We need to look for new people. And next month we'll have another list. If I see the same people, I'm gonna go through the same thing.
I'd just like to make a clarifying statement about the Community Services Board and the Alcohol and Substance Abuse Subcommittee. That subcommittee is a subcommittee of the Community Services Board. So members on that board are selected there are 4 subcommittees. So that is why you see a double name there.
Okay, I didn't know that, but either way, that's what I'm standing on.
Can I have another statement? Bob, you made a good point, but I will tell you that the nomination process for these committees and boards is different for every committee and board. Sometimes they put forth a name to us and then we decide. Sometimes legislators know a person, sometimes a member of the public will recommend them. So it's kind of different every time. And we have a lot of work to do to streamline board appointments, how we arrive at them, and then also to vet them. There are people though, certainly who have done wonderful work. I just don't think they need to be on multiple boards. They can certainly be on a board. And that board may recommend that person for 3 to 4 terms. Well, that's fine that they can be on one board, but let's not be on 2 and 3 boards. There's just other people that can. But I will tell you, because I looked right at Fred and he gave me a little smirk, because we have been working on for years trying to streamline this process of board appointments, and bylaws are very different for each board and agency. Well, about how we arrive at the nomination process. Anyways.
Mr. Petcher.
There's this thing called institutional memory, which is kind of there to make sure we don't make the same mistakes over and over again. That's why people who have experience are put in these boards. So enough said.
I see the sheriff is on the traffic safety board. He's sitting right there. Do you have anything?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to mention the Traffic Safety Board, we have a number of vacant positions, and there's always been vacant positions for the many years that I've served. So I would welcome anyone that's interested in joining or coming forward to learn more about it. But I can't speak to the other boards, but I do know with traffic safety, it's difficult to find folks that are willing to volunteer and give up their time during the day to be involved with that. But there are many open positions if people are interested, so we would welcome it.
Any further discussion? Any no further discussion, we are looking at the Community Services Board and the Traffic Safety Board. Is that correct? Yes. All right, it was a long discussion. All right, let's move with that. Without any further discussion, all in favor of the appointments for the Community Service Board and Traffic Safety Board?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? 2. Thank you. Let's move to CCDC.
You're skipping over stuff.
Well, no, we did everything. We separated CCIDA. We
got Traffic and Safety Board.
Everything else is passed except for CCIDA and CCDC. We'll move on to CCDC.
But we didn't do traffic and safety.
Yeah, but
You just said.
you voted.
Okay.
Yeah.
To volunteering?
That was part of
I thought we did community service.
Oh, no, we did
All right, I got it. Yes.
Can I get a motion to put CCDC on the table?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All right, discussion on the CCDC appointments. Mr. Vitale.
There's a bit of a conflict here. I don't want to mention names, but we had a presentation earlier in this meeting. Two of these people work for that same company. One of them is on multiple boards or serves on boards that do certain type of work. And I cannot support all three. I can support one. At some point in this county, we have to stop the conflicts of interest between boards and people that are serving on multiple boards that have a direct conflict with each other and with the county. So if we want to separate all three, we can separate all three. Otherwise, I'll be voting no on all of them.
Can I ask a point of clarification? Are you referring to that Article 18 you brought up? Or is that not? Because I don't know that that's relevant to.
Article 18 applies to all of this, but
it applies to municipal officials. You can sit on multiple boards if you have no financial benefit from sitting on them. Do they have?
there is a financial benefit when one board that you sit on benefits from decisions that are board makes.
But personal financial benefit?
No, but it's a financial benefit to the board that they serve on.
Well,
Well,
Go ahead, Mr. Moore.
I think that, that's personal. When people have a board, there's a vetting process. And if they say, hey, this person fits for the board, I'm sure there's a disclosure on other boards that they're on. So if they think it's okay, who are we to go in, not even thinking that, I don't know, I don't, I was with you, but I don't know. I just think that I'm not trying to debate this with you. I'm just trying to process this with you because I kind of agree with you. But at some point, I think there's a vetting process and that vetting process shouldn't be taken lightly, especially from the CCDC.
Who's in vetting?
Maybe they are. I don't know. I'm assuming that they're not an organization that would be supported by us as a county that don't vet people before they get them on the board. If they do, then we should be talking about another conversation. But I'm assuming, I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt.
It's your conversation. These people are serving on multiple boards.
Well, I only know what's in front of me.
Conversation.
So here's what I didn't.
I'm trying to support your conversation.
No, I appreciate you trying to support my, but here's what I didn't do. I didn't get all the county boards and I say, okay, is this person on, is this person on? I'm looking at what's now. And actually, I think that if you nominate somebody for a board, I believe that board thinks that person is going to be a benefit to the board. So, but my statement overall, in general, I hope this goes back to these organizations that work with the county and they say, before we put up John Jones, was a made up name, we should make sure that he's not on other boards because we don't want that discussed at the legislative meeting. That's my attempt to do that. I don't think that John Jones would be good or bad for the board, but I'm thinking that if they need to have a discussion, when they have their board meeting, how many boards is this person sitting on? Not about their commitment level, but if we're gonna have this discussion. And so it's nothing personal about any of these people. I'm assuming that I trust the board and committee that if they put these people on the board, they're gonna do a good job. So that's just my opinion, right? So that's the statement I was trying to make something clear.
Well, I can't make some of the statements that I'd like to because we're not in executive session. But
well, maybe we should go in.
These people are benefiting personally from being on these boards.
Go ahead.
Can I clarify?
Yes.
Can I ask you for clarification?
Yes.
Is it, I don't like personalizing it either, down to the person. So I prefer we don't do that. I don't know if we just
I
vote.
would prefer we leave the CCDC as a bundle with the three names associated. Go up or down.
And I would do both CCIDA and CCDC at the same time. I would.
Bundle CCDC.
So it's not personalized.
CCIDA at the same time. All right.
I mean,
That's fine with me. We will vote currently on CC. Did we get first and a second? Did we get first and a second?
but not on IDA.
All right, let's do it first and second for CCDC and CCIDA together.
Move it, Mark.
Sorry, I got a second.
Second.
All right. Discussion on CCDC and CCIDA together. No further discussion. All right, all in favor of the CCIDA and the CCDC? Aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
We have 1, 2.
Wait a minute.
Oppositions.
We bundled them. I'm gonna oppose. 'Cause
Yep, we got 4.
Okay.
4 names. Is there any, we have ledge? We have ledge number 2.
I can speak about it, sir.
Mr. Strong, it's your resolution. Enforcement.
Sponsored, obviously by me, Legislature, is a resolution calling for the repeal of the New York State Humane Alternative to Long-Term Solitary Confinement Act, better known as the HALT Act. This resolution was passed back in 2022 by this legislature. What I have done is for the calendar year of 2024, I have updated the numbers, and all of the legislators received a copy of this on their computers. And this resolution not only, would make the correction officers, the civilian workers that work inside the correctional facilities, but also the inmates themselves benefit from this this HALT Act being rescinded by the state. This is a feel-good resolution. If this resolution passes here tonight, a copy of the resolution that you all received will be sent to all the lawmakers in the state, and a copy would go to the governor.
Making a motion to put ledge 2 on the table.
Move it.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Shane. Any discussion on ledge 2?
I have a discussion. I've been talking a lot today. Okay, that's why I brought a lot of water. Water.
It's time for you to bring me water.
It's empty now. I better check and make sure there's water, because it's been kind of a crazy night, But, I voted no. I voted to repeal and, I think the way I read, the research I did at the beginning when I voted to do this was, I looked at it as a sign of cruelty, what they were doing. And now looking at it now, getting more information, especially with us having a prison and talking to some of the prison guards, I think that I'm gonna vote in support of this resolution only because I think it should be modified. I don't believe that it's gotta be a process, and I don't know if there is one. So if there is one where they can't arbitrarily throw somebody in for a long period of time and leave them there to their skeleton, okay? Or abuse the situation. So I'm gonna go ahead and vote in support of this with the hope that the governor does make some modification on some regulations around it, so it's not for an individual to make a decision about somebody's life. That's why we have a judge,
Any other discussions?
This is, to me, is just political noise. We don't have any control over it. If it was in our jail, we would tell our sheriff what we want, what we don't want. But to me, this is political noise. Not that I support it or not support it, but I'm gonna vote no just because it's nothing that should be in our wheelhouse to deal with.
Well, as former JPS chair, and Mr. Winslow will attest this as well, this does affect our local jail. The sheriff has come to our committee and affected how this affects our local jail and how it's change the way they manage inmates. And potentially it impacts our ability to close pods or restrict it restricts how we can house people. So this has had a detrimental effect, and I will be supporting this piece of legislation.
In 2022, when this came before us, we had an opportunity to do due diligence research. We were given an opportunity by the sheriff to attend a meeting and a training. I believe at the time it was Mr. Mack who did that training, and I attended. I also did further research. I reached out to a congressman, a Democratic congressman who I had great esteem for and connection with. We had a long talk, and he disclosed that he did not vote for the HALT Act and explained why and talked about his prison visits. So at that time, I voted in favor against this act. I'm staying consistent in my feelings. Nothing has changed with what I've learned. So I'll be voting yes tonight.
Any other comments? Okay, no other comments. All in favor?
Aye.
We have any opposed? And I know one opposed. I know we have an abstention.
Have to abstain.
Any other business before this body?
Chairman, I would like to bring forward a motion for resolution 3-25-3 ledge-3. It was pulled from tonight's agenda, but I would like to bring it forward tonight for consideration.
You articulate it for the board, please. I don't have a copy.
I believe it's up on the screen currently.
He's got my copy.
Everyone, all the legislators did receive a copy of this resolution before it was pulled. And again, I have, when it comes to discussion, I will make my case at that point in time.
I'll get a first and a second for discussion.
I'll move it. I'll second.
All right, we have a first and a second. Mr. Strong.
If I may, I would like to table this resolution until the April full-fledged meeting. This would take the resolution past the April 9th date for the governor's executive order to expire. Should the executive order expire on the stated date, resolution 3-25-ledge-3 will be pulled from the April 2025 agenda.
We have a motion to table this resolution. I have a first and a second.
I'll move it.
First.
I'll second it for the table if I can.
Any discussion on tabling this resolution? All in favor of tabling the resolution?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yep, and we have one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, fellow legislators.
We got it. All right. Got no other business. Can I get a motion to?
No, yeah,
You know. We
already-
executive session.
you didn't got another one. Okay.
Why not?
One and done there, young lady.
That ain't about a fucking night with an executive session. We didn't get the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.